Hi, it's Makeda here with another episode of Encounter Spirit. Today we have the beautiful Lisa Winter, visionary artist. Sorry, let me just clear my throat there. An all-round awesome chick. I've invited her on the live today here in Australia. It's 10 a.m. And we've just experienced some crazy shifts. I don't know if you guys have been feeling it. I certainly have. That full moon definitely stirred up, a few things. They say that the moon, brings us into I guess it brings up things from the shadow, puts the light on certain things, also, the things that we're manifesting. But, as somebody who is, kind of, looking at and trying to look at some of the kind of patterns that might come up within the psyche and the moon, what I've really been finding with this full moon that has come around, it's really kind of brought up the next layer of some of the patterns that I've been working on personally as I transition, more into alignment of my woman archetype, and just going through my thoughts, beliefs, and values. And so that's what I've kind of experienced. I'm just going to see if you can say hi. I can't see who's watching. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can add some viewers. No, it's not letting me do that. Hold on 1 second. Alrighty, here we go. So guys, I just got a new phone. Yay! So you're going to have to bear with me. I thought, so I'm just going to invite Lisa now. Thought I better upgrade on the technology. Because these are becoming really popular. So I've just invited Lisa on. Hopefully she's watching. I'll just keep talking. I was just speaking about the moon and the energies, and this real need to kind of question our thoughts, values, and beliefs around the work that we're doing on our personal levels. For me, it's really those thoughts have really come to the surface, repetitive patterns that I might have seen around about 9 years ago, so finishing up a cycle for myself, and being able to kind of pick a different choice, recognizing the pattern, being conscious of what I'm kind of dealing with, and then being able to kind of go, oh, here we go, not this again. I'm not gonna get into that. Don't get me wrong, I certainly do get into certain depressions and things like that, and and kind of allow myself to be in bed for a day while I'm kind of really feeling and seeing those thought patterns as they come up. Here we go. Lisa's just sent some questions now, so let me just reply. Lisa, hopefully you're watching on a phone. It has to be on a phone for me to be able to invite you onto these lives. So if you're on a phone, that's how I can actually invite you. But if you're on a desktop or a laptop, it doesn't work. Which is really interesting, guys. Here's a little tidbit for you, for all these techies out there who are trying to do their own podcasts and live streams and stuff like that. I just did the Zoom, and with that one, you have to be, for it to stream live to Facebook, you have to be on a desktop. So we're all working it out here. I have to say, the more that I've become open to my creativity, open to divine energies, and open to inspiration, I have also become somewhat dyslexic. And so, having to do some exercises to kind of, cross wire my two brain hemispheres to get these technologies and rational thoughts happening. And also grounding. It's really extremely grounding. Okay, here we go. I think Lisa, she's done the request. Yes, okay, so we've got her coming on now, guys. Yay! So just adding Lisa now. Lisa Winter, visionary artist. wow, I can't wait to speak to you, Lisa, about your journey. Here she is. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How you going?
Oh, look, I am feeling it. Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
This full
Do that.
moon, Jesus. My daughter's feeling it. We're all going crazy, old patterns. And, I'm really excited to have you today, Lisa, because it's 29/11/11.
Yeah,
And
it's good news.
I have to say, since the last encounter spirit, I've kind of gone into a little bit of my own dark night of the soul for about 2 weeks.
Mm, mm.
And having to rely on some of these high vibrational tools to be able to kind of shift some of those patterns so I don't get stuck in it. And that's why I'm really excited to have you here today, um, because it is such a powerful day. But, to also talk about your journey with spirit and talk about your art, because that in itself, is a vibrational, well, I find personally in my personal practice, a amazing vibrational tool, something that I can hang up, that I've had, personally. We've had your work up in the space at Soulfire Collective, and why I even asked to have your work up there was because I knew that your work was able to hold space, transform space, be a, the way you spoke about to me about how you came across the vision and how you even became an artist, was spirit inspired to me. So I knew that there was, some form of divine inspiration in your art.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that, Makeda. Like it's funny because it's like when you're the creator of art, I think any artist kind of experiences this, your relationship is different to those who view it.
Yeah.
So like I go through this love-hate process all the time and it's all about like um,
Well,
it's all about like
yeah,
it's all about like
and but
physicality and like
I'm
what am
the
I trying to
same.
create? Yeah.
Yeah,
Pardon, sorry.
I'm the same, and I think what what people don't understand is that it is an intelligence, unfolding in the moment. It's not,
Mm.
it's not kind of like, oh, I've been to art school. I know that you've done some art training as well. And
Yeah.
I found that in that kind of academic environment, it's like, here's an assignment. Now I have to think about it, I have to research this and that. But visionary art is so different.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, I think that like my earliest inspiration that kind of got me into visionary art was like my first favorite artist was Salvador Dali. So I started playing with
Mine
the idea.
too.
Yeah. And then kind of explored things like looking at James Gleason's work as an Australian
Yes, I love
surrealist
him too.
artist. Not
Straight
alive anymore.
surrealist.
Um,
Yeah.
And then kind of influenced by William Blake, who's like an old master painter, and then like
Yeah.
started loving certain bands like Tool and watch saw Alex Gray's work, was really inspired by
Yeah.
that connection with with divinity through art that was
Yeah.
like
Wow.
more psychedelic in nature.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And this exploration, because I'm the same, I think for me, it was really that idea of, and even like, the abstract artists and Pollock and that, and the idea of being able to just put whatever the paint wanted to do, whatever my hand wanted to do. Sorry, I'm having whatever my hand wanted to do, um, and also this idea, because as a child, and I still do have incredible dreams, like
Mhm.
full Technicolor, dreams, and as as being a psychic medium and doing all that kind of stuff, then I even had those dreams kind of, you know, uh, come into my reality, and kind of thinking about, what was it? Like, did my soul create this dream? Did the divine bring that about? Was it my internal battle that was that nightmare? And then
Mm,
exploring the surrealist work and feeling like, well, this is the place of expression for these things that we can't necessarily understand, you know
mm. Yeah, yeah, for
and
sure.
and especially, like the awe and inspiration of nature, as you mentioned. And so
Mm.
I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about that journey, because I mean, your art is sacred geometry.
Yeah, yeah.
And your business is sacred grounds, and with my connection to spirit in terms of my shamanic and animistic outlay of the world, I'm always feeling connected. I'm feeling my feet, I'm feeling the sacred ground as I walk. How did that come about for you?
Oh, it's like a lot of. It's an intricate question you just asked me. Um, how did it come about? How did like I don't know. It's just like every day has been a journey, like
Yeah,
through an artistic expression, and I
yeah,
think that if I think about specifically my journey with the subject matter that I resonate with and I create,
yeah,
it started like really getting into creating art with visionary style and sacred geometry because I've been making art for a long time. But what
yeah,
kind of really fueled that direction was probably when yeah, 7 to 8 years ago.
yeah.
I met my coven spheres of light, and they're based in
Wow.
South Sydney. So it's through my
Wow. So for everybody out there, I just want to make a point. So Lisa, you identify yourself as a Wiccan,
no, as a witch. I think Wicca is a
as a witch?
religion, whereas
Yeah,
witchcraft is a
cool.
practice.
Yes, awesome. Because I want to, I'd love to get into this with you as well. And if you could just explain a little bit, because our viewers out there, some of them, have never, heard of this or don't know the difference between Wiccan and religion, Wicca. Because I personally, I don't practice voodoo, which is a religion, but I practice hoodoo, which is a witchcraft. And it's very
Mm.
different. And so I'd love for you to explain that, in your terms, as you explain your story as well, how it came about, that path for yourself and your personal practice.
Yeah, well, the path of magic has always been with me. I think even from a small child, like I just could not walk past a crystal shop. I was just like, I just drawn to go in there, and like, it reminds me of that meme with like the Boromir from Lord of the Rings. One does not simply walk past a crystal shop. Was that me when I was
Yeah.
young? Um, anyway, so yeah, so kind of like always inclined to explore that, and I started picked up my first deck of tarot cards when I was 12 and like
Yeah.
have learnt the tarot for 20 years as part of a divination practice, which is common
Yeah.
in witchcraft.
Yeah.
Divination practice is kind of part of it. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so if I go back to like the 8 years ago when I met my coven, so I was
Yeah.
already on that path of magic, but I hadn't really
Yeah.
connected with other like-minded people.
Yeah.
Through my time there, like over the last 7 or 8 years, I've done a lot of magic ritual, and in that
Yeah.
magic ritual, it's been a deep process of inner transformation and finding
And
that power with my
creation.
yeah, and creation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that, like through those meditative, guided journeys that I went on to explore other realms, meet with other deities, and all the
Yeah.
energy that
Yeah.
subtle realms, like I was able to
Yeah.
visualize that really clearly, and through
Yeah.
that visualization, bring back those
Yeah. Yeah.
experiences and those ideas into my artwork.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, Lisa, I'm just going to ask you straight out because, you know, um, this is a real kind of whatever it is show.
Yeah,
And later on, I've got lined up Dean. He's a Cambo practitioner. We're going to be talking plant medicines and that type of thing. And
cool.
so, I've personally, delved with plant medicines in order to enrich my journeys and bring about these visions. Um,
Mhm.
we're going to say mostly in a ritualistic sense and a held environment.
Mm,
Um, and but then at the same time, I've also been able to grab those visions without it, and sometimes,
mm,
well, look, I'm going to say to you, most times, through fasting and different, even just getting my own, performing my own little ritual, hero's journey of death and rebirth with light and
yeah.
candle, something simple, can still get me to those states and still bring about those same
Mm.
visions, manifestations. What do you think?
Yeah, that's something I've worked with extensively,
Yeah.
exploring altered states of consciousness through using plant medicines, through my own
Yeah.
personal practice in a recreational environment and in a held
Yeah.
space. Like I've done kind of
Yeah.
like all of them. The painting behind me, this guy.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
this is a piece that the idea came to me from a journey with Bolivian torch cactus. I was working with a friend of
Wow.
mine at the time who was he grew the plant and was a
Yeah.
experienced practitioner with the particular plant medicine.
Yeah.
During that
Now
journey, like I
that's the fat
visualized.
dark green. I just want to just confirm that's a fat dark green one. It's like
Yeah, I
really,
think so.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think I know.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. So
yeah,
so just for the viewers out there, because we might be going a little bit into unknown territory. Um, part of being, whether you're like a witch, if that's what you identify, for me a bit shamanic or animalistic, there is this connection to nature, and there is this idea that we can talk to plant spirits and commune and use these plant spirits within our work. For me, I use plant spirits in everything, cooking, right up to cleansing houses, spiritual properties as well as medicinal properties. And a lot of these, sacred geometrical patterns, we exist within plant structures. We can see them all around nature. We can see the sacred geometry symbols and signs, but basically when we look around our gardens. And so this is the
mm,
kind of link between the art and the plant. And also, we're talking about, this is encounter spirits. So now we're talking about encountering plant spirits. Yeah. and
mm.
and how Lisa came about that, her artwork, by encountering and communing and building relationship with the spirit of the cacti.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's like, you know, um, one of my favorite authors and advocates for plant medicines is a man called Graham Hancock. He actually has a
Wow.
banned TED Talk, which is
Yeah.
about the war on consciousness, where
Wow.
these things have been made illegal. So we
Wow.
cannot explore these external, these transpersonal realms where we can connect with plant medicines and have them show us our deeper insights into ourselves for healing, growth, and our connection with
Yeah. Yeah.
divinity. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
something that I really resonate with. And a lot of visionary artists, not all of them use plant medicines, but I would say a majority of them have had an experience with
Yeah.
them. That's why we keep getting
Yeah.
this
Look,
theme again,
you know,
why sacred
we're, we're,
geometry.
we're, we're talking William Blake here. We're talking some of these
Mm,
enlightened, with the 1500, 1600 opium, like smoking, cocaine doing, you know,
mm,
mushroom eating artists, even in pop culture today, like we can look at Alice in Wonderland and that
mm.
caterpillar, he was definitely tripping.
Yeah, one side of the mushroom makes you grow taller, and the other side makes you grow shorter. Just a metaphor.
So it's something that I in my research can has been seen done for thousands of years. But there's also kind of like, we talked about, the dark side, just kind of tapped on it just there, a bit about the dark side of these plant medicines. And what can you say about that?
I think that like within us exists, and within the collective consciousness exists, within all
Yeah.
everything exists a light and a shadow. And
Yeah.
it's through that balance of our light and our shadow we find our soul. And with our alignment, this we live in a dualistic universe.
Yeah,
The we're tuned into. There's always polarity between good and bad, light and shadow. And I think that
exactly.
sometimes in the plant medicines you can have a quote unquote bad trip.
Yeah,
When you're looking into those aspects of
yeah,
yourself or the
yeah,
greater world as to see what's really going on, and there's stuff there that's I think like people say like there's negative is bad,
yeah,
or like see things in this way. I think that there is like there's nothing and there's everything all existing at once.
yeah,
And if
yeah,
you look at it like between like the shadow being the black void of nothing, which when something gets
mm,
destroyed no longer exists and goes
yeah,
to this black void of nothing.
yeah,
It's a space in which pure potential can exist. It's like a womb of creation. And
yeah,
everything that does exist is consciousness and everything in between. So in that darkness we can find bringing things back down to basics. We can find
yeah,
that guiding light within that darkness and our truth in
yeah.
that darkness.
So
But if we
I
spend
just
too much time in it, it's
look.
not good
This
either.
is something. Look, and I'm going to get a bit transpersonal now on you, and we're going to talk a little bit about our profession.
Yeah.
Lisa and I are both transpersonal art therapists. Studied at the College of Complementary Medicine, and this transpersonal, psychology really looks at spiritual emergence and spiritual crisis, and but looks at meaning making from the client perspective. So from your perspective, and I think it's really beautiful. What you mentioned about the light and dark, because with the plant medicines, for me, I really always look at this idea of this duality of inside, outside. Looking at the things that I might see within myself, or the things that I'm creating, like taking ownership, and really looking into not only just physical, emotional, mental aspects of my world, but spiritual aspects of my world that might have to do with, for example, ancestral lines, or like patterns and consciousness, and all that kind of stuff. And the biggest thing that I think is when we kind of go into these realms and getting stuck in bad trips and stuff, is really kind of being in a good place. Like,
Mm.
this shadow is like no joke. And going into these places, if you've had a bad day, or you're not held, or you're not in some kind of ritual, you don't have a strong intention, you're just like, oh, let's just go see what's there.
Yeah.
It can really, yeah,
Yeah. Such a deep thought process, that one, because it's like you're navigating all these dark realms of your psyche as well,
yeah,
and in that, uncovering things that you have not been able to accept or that need to be healed. And it can be
yeah,
difficult to face these things, but it requires like your bravery, your courage, and your love of
yeah,
yourself and the world around you to kind of transverse and navigate these shadowy realms.
yeah, yeah,
With the plant medicines, there's no hiding. There's no more
yeah.
hiding from that part of ourselves. And that's why they're so potent, so
Yeah,
powerful for healing. It's such a powerful
yeah,
psychoactive substance. It's not for everyone because it can cause problems or psychosis or, suffering for people who've used in the wrong way for the wrong reasons, the wrong time. So,
yeah.
yeah, something to be had with great reverence.
Yeah, reverence. That's what I was thinking as you're talking. I'm like, I'm not afraid of many things. I actually said, haha, I'm not afraid. I say it a lot. But plant medicines, particular like ayahuasca, I've never tried iboga, but I'm petrified. Yeah, just because I know that these plant spirits, are powerful. But anyway, Lisa, I'm just going to change it up a little bit now, because I can't stop staring at that beautiful picture behind you. And I've been at, like, we kind of met at an expo where
Yeah.
I think it was maybe in like Campbelltown. What
Yeah, I think
expo
it was.
was it? Do you remember?
I think it was with alternative and psychic fairs.
Yeah, the
Um,
alternative
yeah,
and psychic fairs. That's right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I was just, and so I've kind of just like we've been like, we've been friends and we've hung out and I've seen you around the way. And I think we've both been on this kind of crazy journey, and correct me if I'm wrong, but where it's like, okay, we're just trying to make it in this, like as a spiritual person, as a job,
Mm.
like trying to draw upon, these gifts and talents so that we're living our joys and still able to feed ourselves, and
Yeah.
I've seen like this amazing blossoming, in your journey from being, doing these, psychic fairs, doing your beautiful, one-on-one readings where you do the art for people that, and I've seen
Yeah.
you expand, from, your bigger paintings, and expanding into chakra work and actually getting down into the geometry of that, putting it on
Mm.
t-shirts, bringing them into people's homes, to really, like, to me, brand yourself as this, this is something, that you can use as a practitioner, as someone who is, doing the work to make your space high vibrational. And to me, that you mentioned courage and strength before that, but I want to talk about surrender. I mean, how many times has there been that moment where you've just been like, fuck it, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna take that risk, and like being on your back, being depressed, personal life falling apart, and you're just having to grasp upon something. Tell me about,
Mm.
like, what was the biggest moment where you've kind of gone, yep, fuck it, I just have to do this now.
It's been a gradual process, I guess, and I think that like one of the things about following the artist path is belief. Your belief in yourself. I always say if you don't believe your own bullshit, no one else will. So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So you have to. I think you have to connect with your higher self and your higher purpose,
Yeah.
to whatever
Yeah.
way you do that. And yes, surrender's a big thing. I'm constantly finding surrender again when I feel like my life's spinning out of control, and I'll pray. Like people don't realize, part of any kind of spiritual practice, prayer's a big part of it, and it might not be
Always
something that
number
comes over
one.
but yeah, prayer.
Yeah.
So I pray, and I pray to my patron, and look for their guidance. And if I don't understand and I don't know and I don't get it and I don't know the next step to take, I just surrender. Because first
Yeah.
you surrender and you win.
Look, it's funny because it's such a funny like word, surrender, but also like, that energy of vulnerable, you know, and that kind of fear that we get. Are you there? For example, I used to uh very like this is how I figured it out. I when I had my license, I used to drive around and get lost purposefully. I put away my map, I put away my phone, I put away my GPS, and just before that moment when I was going to like feel that I was going to get lost and never make it, all this crazy fear would come up. Like, oh my God, like this control, like just get your map out, just get your GPS, like find it. You're never going to figure it out. And then I'd say, no, I'm just going to follow my intuition. And I'd surrender into that vulnerability, into that fear. And every time I did that, I found my way. It was so
Mm.
weird. But it started with the vulnerability of the small things. It didn't matter if I got lost or not. I didn't care. Like I'd figure it out. If my GPS was right there, you know what I mean? Like I
Mm.
had to do it like gradually with, let me use my intuition, a yes or no on this. Let me
Yeah.
open my heart up in vulnerability to my coffee man. I might know I don't have to see him again. And then that kind of gave me the strength and, as you said, gradually built to then do the big things. Did you find it was the same for you?
I think it's a constant process. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think like taking those leaps of faith as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like trying to make a living of creating art. Um,
Yeah.
and Sydney is an expensive city to live in, and
Yeah.
to be able to, and life's expensive, really. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Like to be able to navigate like one week to the next. I swear, I live like one week to the next. I don't know
Yeah.
what's around the corner
Oh
half
yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
If I surrender that, like the universe will always provide as long as I
Yeah.
stay true to my path. I do freak
Yeah.
out at times. Like there's stuff
Yeah.
that motivates me. Like quick, just got like $300
Yeah.
electricity
Yeah.
bill.
Yeah.
And then
Just do
like I
this.
just like okay, yeah, study the course, keep going on what I know is true, and like not letting the pressure of life going, yes, I have to act, but I don't have to
Mm.
worry. The worry experience,
Yeah.
and it's the
Is
identifying
that,
that fear from
I
believing.
think, wow, Lisa, I just, when you talk about that, I just hit some of my like heartstrings around urgency and patience
Mm,
and fear, and I can say that, when I have that urgency and I act out of fear, it always fucks up every time. you know. But when I can
yeah.
kind of hold that urgency and kind of wait for the moment, right, wait for that, like you said, that to me, it's like following my joy. If it doesn't feel right, then I can't do it. So I have to
Mm,
wait for that, even though I'm like, I just want to do this now. I just need to do it. I just need to do it. Like I said, the last 2 weeks, I haven't been able to do a show. I've been processing, and then
mm.
today came around and it was like, yep, let's do this, just like that. And sometimes, I know that if I tried to do it earlier, it just wouldn't have worked as successfully.
Yeah, for sure. Through like just kind of we can talking and what came to mind then, like why I've kind of been able to integrate these philosophies. It's through the art practice as well. So when I start an art piece, I don't have all
Yeah.
the information there. I've got just the birth of an
Yeah.
idea. And then like my skills and what I want in my mind to come out the end of my hand, the way I'm seeing it in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's a process to get there, and patience is required, and trust is required, and belief is
Yeah.
required, and the
Yeah.
skills that I do have. And if I don't have all the answers now to finish the
Yeah.
painting, over time it will come.
It
So
will
it's
come.
just, yeah, it's a
It will
process. Life
come.
is like a piece of art.
Look, Lisa, I couldn't agree more. And I often say to people, especially like some of my clients that are coming around now, they're like, "I'm awakened. I need to be a shaman. I need to be a Reiki master. I need to be." You know what I mean? It's like, no, you don't. You just need to be what your joy is, and the divine will just come through. And you've just
Mm,
explained that amazingly, you know. Um, I have unfinished stories, unfinished artworks, unfinished, ceremonial pieces just hanging around. And
yeah.
to me, it is the same like relationship as in nature, waiting for that thing to continue to speak to me for what it
Mm,
needs, and I
yeah.
definitely see my art as an internal process of my healing journey. At the
Mm,
moment, I'm doing a piece of African Venus, like I'm an oil painter, so I'm doing a piece of African Venus,
amazing.
and like I've outlined her, but I'm just not ready to paint her in yet, you know,
Mm,
and I just
mm,
have to wait till she comes alive. I don't know when that will be, and I keep
yeah.
getting pictures of myself just putting the paint out. I keep like smelling the paint and I know that it's coming, but I haven't felt that urge yet, and I keep kind of having ideas about, because your ego does, like my ego keeps jumping forth to the finished piece and how grand it's going to be, but I've kind of got to
Mm,
that point of letting that go now and know it's never ever going to be what I think it is.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I totally get it. Totally get what you're saying. Yeah, it's like I find that like there's two ways inspiration works for me. Like
Yeah.
you're waiting for that information to come through, that inspiration, that vision, that knowing that this is the next thing I'm going to add,
Yeah.
and waiting for that to come, and you have to be patient to wait for
Yeah.
that to come. But you
Yeah.
can also get lost in a trap of waiting for that inspiration to happen. I find I often say to people is
Yeah.
the inspiration is on the end of my paintbrush. So as soon
Yeah,
as
the
I
cock
put that paint
block.
in the end of my
That's the,
paintbrush,
yeah.
that's where it is.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
this.
Wow, that's it. And it's trying to find that balance and knowing like when is it when, is this because for me I'm a sensation for person. So I try to bypass the mind. I'm too smart. I can always like, influence myself. And so I always have to
Mm,
go into my self plexus, into my gut and go, oh, okay, nah, that egg's still hatching, like that's still
mm,
happening.
mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, rather than kind of going, blah, 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 yeah. And I don't know, that's how I kind of do it. But at the same time, I think, as you said, that bodily sensation could also be a fear, and unprocessed fear, and so it's
Yeah.
really important. Like, and this is, I guess, you would have done it in your transpersonal work as well, body as a barometer, kind of really feeling and knowing, what your yes and no feels like, you know, like what's your go moment and what's your hold moment. And, I found that, as I
Mm.
said, in the simplest things, can I cross the street now? No, that feels dangerous. Turn left, yes or no. And even that yes or no of, this kind of inspiration is really a bypassing of the mind.
Yeah, yeah, it's a knowing of the difference between the intuition and fear. That's the tricky one.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
what's my highest truth here? What's my instinct telling me? What's my body telling me? And is it because like fear is a symptomatic of being this human like
yeah.
incarnation.
Flesh
So
body.
it's like it's knowing which one's what. That's the tough part.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's also, where, I'm going to have to say, if you're on this consciousness journey, if you feel like you're just waking up, my biggest advice and, is to just, figure out your yes and no. If you know your yes and no, that like you can move from there to from the difference between following like your bliss and something that is gonna put you down the crazy hole, or
Yeah.
following it's the same, like following a blessing or following a curse. Yeah, look at that awesome light shine. I love looking at the fractals.
Yeah, just like
So
my phone screen's cracked and it's kind of reflecting light. My dog keeps bugging me. He's just like bugging the hell out of me right now. My dog Jasper.
no,
I've got
I
a
love
border
it. Don't
collie
no,
and
I love it because it reminds me because I was talking to my girlfriend about this the other day, and she takes these photos, I take photos, and because of obviously the art, I love getting the light fractals and all that type of thing. And now spirits, it's all happening around you. And I want to talk about this concept with you as an artist, as probably and
Mm,
probably for you as a practitioner of witchcraft, this black and white duality. Because I think it's, a
mm,
lot of people, particularly in the New Age movement, they're talking about, black, white, dark, light. And, as an artist, like I wear black a lot. Color for me is something that raises my vibrations. It's something that, tunes into my auric field, into my physicality. It speaks to my cells. And so for me, when I talk about black, I'm talking about all the colors mixed together. I've got my protection on right now. If you see me with a Ghostbuster Batman jumper, you know it's on. Like, black to me is such a powerful, powerful color. White in an artist's sense is kind of like an absence of color. But then when we take that to like, geometries and things like that, we take that to a light spectrum. So now we're just talking science. White can be seen as a light, a spectrum of all, the fractals of light. Whereas, black can be seen as the absence of light, so the mystery. And
mm.
so these concepts in itself just get thrown around, and so I want to just just as an artist and as someone working with geometry, light, what's your kind of take on that?
I think I've said it before that like the darkness or black for me is the void. It's the pure potential for anything to exist. If you look at the universe and how it's just like a big black nothing with all matter and light in amongst it, like people talk about the Big Bang, where there was nothing. It's even in the Bible that there was nothing. And from
Yeah.
that nothing, everything was created, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Because
yeah.
you
So I
use
when
black on your canvases are majority black, aren't they?
Yeah, I usually start by painting like a base of black oil paint. Not all the time, but often. And then like, because I use metallic ink and metallic paint, and I found like that medium kind of really resonates and shines from that void. So it's bringing
Wow.
that light through from the void. So it's kind of like that, just like we are fractals of the creator. So I'm
Yeah.
just like creating like the creator would from the nothing, bring the light through. Um, you know
Wow.
in that realization of
Wow.
God's self, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm just looking at a piece that started this week or started yesterday,
Yeah.
because it's just really fresh in my mind from the very beginning, early stages, and like yeah, just it's okay. Like at first, it's like a big black thing just staring back at me, and the
Yeah.
potential's all there to create whatever I want on it, and
Wow.
what's gonna work. And yeah, I know it's so hard to explain. It seems really obscure at the time and
No,
abstract.
that sounds so beautiful. It sounds like manifestation. You're talking to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly my manifestation. I sit there, I visualize a black, I wait in the mystery for something to arise, and then I focus on that which is arises, and then I just keep following, I guess, the color, or like you said, the paint at the end of your brush. To me, the art and how you've explained it really talks about life.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, it's metaphoric in sense. Hey, mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was gonna add something that just escaped me. Yeah. Anyway, next
That's all
thing.
right. That's what happens. Spirit does that. I'm just having a look at the time. So, Lisa, do you want to
Mhm.
just talk about what you're doing now? We've got, something like 15 or so minutes or whatever, whatever. And,
Mhm.
this is obviously, a show about how you do what you do, but also, like, I want to talk about what your dreams are, like, what are you visioning now? Where are you at? What's happening?
Okay, I guess what's happening now, and I think maybe where I'm headed. It's so hard
Yeah,
to see around the corner.
tell me
Um,
about it.
yeah, so like today, if I go like, what am I doing today? Let's start with today.
Yeah, let's
I'm,
start with the
I'm
moment.
start with today. I'm doing an online market tonight, so I'm promoting like
Yeah,
all my artwork through my business that like
yeah.
I'm going to make available for people to purchase in time for Christmas. So that's
Oh,
like what I'm
wow.
starting
Okay,
tonight.
cool. So you're doing like an online marketplace. You got some specials on
Yeah.
tonight. What time
Yeah.
is that?
I think it starts at 6.
Okay, cool. So six. And is it like an auction type thing or just discounts?
Oh yeah, discounts and just like what's available at the moment as well.
Oh,
Um,
cool. So can you do me a favor? Can you just, I can see that you've got some art around you. Can you just show us, some of the stuff that you're working on at the moment? You're a little bit into your world.
yeah, I wonder if I can turn my camera around. I don't know if I
Yeah,
can do
let's
that.
see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. See on my
Yay.
computer then.
Wow. So this is
So,
it. Okay, look, I'm having a couple.
wow.
Sorry, viewers, I'm going in real close. If you can just, so those are the chakras.
Yeah, that's what I've got on the back of some shirts. It's just on my wall here.
Yeah.
This
So
is
if you
just
can
some
just,
drawings
wow.
on my computer.
Wow. And
That's what
are
was
these
sitting
all
behind me.
freehand, Lisa?
No, these ones are a combination of
Yeah.
the digital and hand drawn. So I start off like with a drawing and I'll scan it in and put it in Photoshop and play with the image until I get something I like. But
Yeah.
they were made a few years ago. This one's a
Yeah.
piece I just finished. It's like a meter by a meter.
Wow. Can you just explain that one to us?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's really funny. It's cool. I can talk about this. Um, yeah, so this one come from like all my experiences in life with heartbreak. And I started
Wow.
off making this piece, and it was like this stained glass type window with all this like black shattering in it, which was the
Oh my
basis. And like on
gosh.
Facebook Live of me doing that. And then like from
Mm.
that, building up layers of geometry. So I started doing that at a festival last year when I decided, like, from all this heartbreak, from all the darkness, from all the destroying, that I can
Mm.
bring through light of like a true love. And at
Mm.
that time, I met my current partner.
Yeah,
That weekend that I started making this piece.
yeah.
And then like through over the last year, because I started a year ago, I just started adding all the different components and then letting it kind of speak to me and
Holy
kind of
moly. Can you tell me when that was? What, like, was that around between May and September last year, by the way?
when did when did I start this?
No, no,
About it was probably
yeah, the heartbreak.
oh, that's like it's like it was like all my life. It's like it was
So it's
like an
like,
all my life thing. It was like it's like
yeah,
every single heartbreak I experienced, and there was a breakup at that point in time as well. Around the end of August,
yeah,
I'd been with someone for 3 years. Very like um,
yeah,
very upsetting, very traumatic type of heartbreak. Where I was
yeah.
just like this started from accepting all of those I experienced over time, and had from that
Wow.
breaking it breaks open. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's that one. And I've
No,
got
wow,
something.
that's amazing. No, the reason why I was asking you why you get to the next one, Lisa, is because I actually was doing some ritual for personally
Mm,
around heart unrequited love last
all
August.
right. All right.
Yeah, and was working with the plant medicine basil. And
Yeah, that's
had these
like quite
really, yeah,
powerful.
basil for unrequited love and just higher heart stuff, all of that. So, as you were
Mm,
talking and explaining this amazing, amazing manifestation right there, like I'm just going, wow, that is going to be healing hearts, unrequited love. Connecting, the higher heart as well as, the heart chakra, so definitely, for people who are, looking to kind of self-love, let go of any ties of guilt, blame, and shame, I think.
mm.
Definitely, that piece is definitely speaking to me about that. And I don't know, are you selling it, Lisa?
No, I gave it to my partner.
Oh,
Um, yeah, well, I am making tapestries of it. So I'll make tapestries that
wow.
are 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters. But the thing is, it's like for me to order them, I need to order 10. For me to afford
Yeah.
the 10, I need for people to buy five before I can order the
Okay.
10. So
All right, all
yeah,
right,
so
all
it's
right, all
more
right. So
like
how? Okay,
like
so
200 a
this is
person.
so if people want it to me, I want that to put in my bedroom. By the way, a tapestry on my bedroom wall because I just think it's amazing to bring that connection, as I said, heart and high heart chakras and cleanse out some of that stuff, particularly in relationships. And, you know, as I said before, the unrequited love, what I learned was it's so much about self patterns,
Mm,
bringing that to the
mm.
surface to be able to accept love. And so, if we were to like, so how much would one be if we were to get 10?
Um, so there would be 88 each retail.
Awesome. Okay, so everybody who's listening and watching, if you want I'm gonna put, Lisa's got her market on tonight, on, I think it's Lisa Winter, visionary artist, Sacred Grounds.
Yeah, it'll be
Uh,
on my
so
Sacred Ground and Space
yeah,
page.
Sacred Ground and Space, Facebook. We'll put the links all, if you could put the links in the comments. But because I'm just in love with that piece, I'm gonna promote the tapestries and a link to that. If we can get 10 together, we can get that special for 88. Woohoo! 8, yes. 16, which is a 7, which is
So I've got
heart
a knock at my
and
front
head
door. Give me one
intuition.
second.
Yeah,
Someone's
cool.
knocking at my front door. I think it's a package I've been waiting for or something. So life doesn't stop for these
Yay!
things.
I love it. I love live.
How you
Let's
doing?
give some love to the package guy.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. See ya. Yeah. Good.
Yay! Gifts. I love
Um.
gifts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what was I doing? It's not for me. It's for my boyfriend. Um.
Uh,
Yeah. So like I just want to talk a little bit about it. Like just zooming in
yeah.
here. Like what I've
Wow.
done is like added But I started really working on the information of the piece when I was at a party in the bush called Neuron Vacuum. And one thing I've
Wow.
kind of resonated with recently is knowing that the heart has intelligence and there's neurons in our
Yeah.
heart, like in our mind. So
Wow.
we connect our heart to our mind, like we're using the
Yeah.
intelligence of our heart to make
Wow.
decisions, not just our mind.
Wow.
But yeah, anyway, I'll just point that out. But otherwise, this is full of other
Yeah, well,
symbology
this
and
is, this is all part and parcel of, taking care of our spiritual health and understanding, particularly the vibration of the heart. As you were saying, we've got thought intelligence within there that generally comes out as emotions. And, I
Mm.
normally say with manifestations, you can do all those affirmations all you want, but if you don't believe them, then they're never going to come true. Same with any
Mm,
kind of
mm.
witchcraft, you can do all the ritual you want, but you have to align that heart chakra.
Yeah, yeah. Has to feel right. So that's that piece. We'll quickly just go through some other artwork. Like I've got all these little
Yeah.
altars set up around my place. So this is like I went to
Yay.
Bali recently, got a Garuda, but that's like a piece that I've done
Oh,
in the
hi,
past.
Garuda. I've met him before.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've got like a little Brahma, like Vishnu representative and Shiva,
Yeah.
creator, preserver, destroyer happening.
Wow.
This piece, this dragon piece I'm working on for a while. I don't know if it's ever finished, but
Oh
that's
my
another piece.
gosh, that's amazing.
I've got like some on the wall in my lounge room as well. Just some earth, air,
So
fire,
there's
water,
some
spirit.
more like platonic solid type
Yeah,
ones.
they're all tetrahedrons, but like more of the like mixture of the 3D and the 2D representation of the elements. And then I'll go into like this is like just another little altar I've got set up somewhere.
So right,
These are
so
my
this is
art
your
drawings, all my art
altar.
materials.
Yeah. Wow.
Some pieces just kind of like some finished, some not
Wow.
finished.
Yeah.
And then
And I wanna,
like sorry, this is one thing I love doing is like using the art in a talismanic way. So this is my magic room, and I kind of use the art.
yay! Thanks for bringing us
So
in. Wow.
yeah, that's like in like mask making I've done over the years, and like more of my art
Yeah.
on the wall, the digital
Wow. Wow.
and drawing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Lisa, I have to ask, I'm so impressed. Are you doing any kind of mentoring, coaching, seeing people one-on-one, courses? Like, I want to learn.
Oh, yeah, like I did. I've run my last workshop I ran was at a open day at a spiritual center in Waterloo called Capricorn 6th and 10th. Like just recently
Oh,
opened. I've got some of
cool.
my art sitting there, but
Mm,
yes, we did like a sacred geometry workshop there, and I kind of
nice.
take people through some information about that particular symbology and how they can
Yeah.
use it to manifest. But yeah, I'm
Yes.
like open to like whoever wants to learn whatever from me, like
Oh my
you know.
gosh. Okay. So, Lisa, I'm going to ask you a question. And because we live in the moment, we don't know what's happening in the future.
Mm.
Would you consider coming back and doing like a six-part series or something?
Yeah.
Just doing like we can do it all live. We can, you can teach the audience whatever. Because that's, for everybody out there, that's what's next on Encountering Spirit. We want to take people like Lisa, who've got some juicy wisdom. We've just literally touched on the surface,
Yeah.
you know,
Indeed.
and just unlike analyzed like one painting, not even fully. Like that was just so I just know there's so much that we can learn from Lisa. So we might do that. And then, if you're wanting to learn more about sacred geometry, paintings, manifestation, raising your vibration with art, if you want to shift some things, sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. um if you want to shift some things, with art therapy based practices, this has been Lisa's journey, as we've heard, we from the get go, from a child with her inquiry into tarot and the unknown, and obviously connections in her personal practice of witchcraft, as well as connecting to nature, plant medicines. She is just an amazing source of wisdom. Oh my gosh, I can't believe everything we've just got through, Lisa. Thank you so much for coming and being a part of this. Like, I'm so blessed to even, to have you. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, words always fall short when I'm supported by people, especially like people who I really believe in what they're doing, and I believe in what you're doing,
Oh,
how
thank
you
you.
are helping so many people through. Like you've worked really hard to get to where
All
you
right.
are, like all the hours that you've put in to get the following you
Mm.
have, to reach people enough for
Oh,
them to listen to you, and now sharing that with other people. It's very noble. So thank you.
look, the biggest thing, and I know that, it'd be with you as well. When we kind of open the door, we think we're doing it for ourselves. Like I know that, like
Mm.
even with my pain, I think I'm doing it for myself. But then, I just I just realize how many amazing people I know that are wise, that have contributed just even a small amount to my journey. And there's so many people who need to hear about this stuff,
Mm.
and it's happened like with in a universal year, it's happening. I can't go down to the pub anymore without someone saying something. Like,
That's weird. I prefer infinite time.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my love. Okie dokie. So, please, if you've got any questions for Lisa, we're going to pop all her deeds in the comments, as well as, yes, this is going to be on YouTube. So I'll have the YouTube link soon. And yeah, stay tuned. And thanks again to Lisa. And you're with Makeda on Encountering Spirit. Bye. Many blessings. Thank you,
Thank you.
Spirit. See ya.
Bye.